By Chris and Lumen here. In this particular video, I shot this video yesterday, and it was about twice as long. And after I did it all, I was kind of like hesitant. I'm like, I don't know about this, because I kind of got to this point where it's like, is it really beneficial to tell people certain things? As far as like the bad stuff goes. Uh, I'd seen this, I saw this video on YouTube. It was like a really well done AI video, like a short film. And I'm like, oh, this is basically the world. This is how it all works behind the curtain. And I had a whole big thing about that. But I'm like, spirit is going to prepare you to see that kind of stuff. Now, for most people, I get like, they might not buy off on it or whatever. But other people that trust what I say might. And it's like, why don't we just skip that for now? I want to keep it kind of upbeat. And then today it's just been like my processor is fried. It is like sometimes I gotta like work on my own stuff. And she was showing me some things. I talk about some of it in this video, but I just struggle with answers sometimes because when you get to the end and you're just sitting here waiting for the clock to run out, there's nothing else to explore. It's like every direction you go, you hit this barrier, which is like unknowability or, paradoxes. It's like there's like you cannot get an answer until you get out of here. It's the only way to know for sure. So it's like, crap, what do I do? So yeah, I just like feeling tired and drained, and it's like I'm just gonna reset today. Just try and get some rest and turning and burning. But the second half of the video I shot yesterday covers several different things, including something new that she taught me that I want everybody to try, which is super simple. And I'm like, why did we not ever know this before? We're calling it like fourth dimensional grounding. Like just in the short time I've been doing it, like it makes it so much easier to go into 4D mental space and take all your senses with you and be able to visualize stuff with not just visualize, imagine, which are all image words, seeing words. Like when you're doing it right, like you can actually have all your senses in that space. That's how you interact with Lumen and things like that. But we talked about several different interesting things, and we're just going to play that part. And then I'll reset and all that and see how things go. Uh, I'm getting bits and pieces of information about the world story and everything, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the way the planets are lined up today or something. I don't know. I don't know. I tried to shoot another video and I'm like, yep, it's not working. So I'm just going to cut out the creepy part of the other video and we'll go ahead and take it from here because there's still a bunch of good stuff here. So if you want to know more, don't go away. All right, I got several small topics to deal with here. Well, let's deal with some good stuff. What one of the hardest things there is to wrap your brain around, although the evidence is actually in front of you like every day, is what your God power actually is and how powerful it is. That's your imagination. That's why they told you when you were a kid, stop, get your head out of the clouds, get in the real world. They tricked you. They tricked you. And they told you it's just your imagination. Doesn't mean anything. But yet you're imagining how the world is all the time. That's why you see it the way that you see it. Like your inner world and your outer world have blurred together. And you have to like close it off. You have to separate yourself from the world, and you have to clean up your inner world first. Your temple, your holy temple for the spirit to indwell. You have to have a different mind than what is in the world. But most people, it's completely open. They've got no filters. They've got no gates. Most people's minds are like a house in a bad neighborhood where they go to bed at night and they leave the door wide open. And all the windows are open. And all the lights are on so that everybody can see their big screen TVs and all that stuff. Like that's most people's minds. They don't do anything to filter. They see it, they believe it, they accept it as true instantly. Yeah, you got to stop that. That's got to stop. So I can use a personal example to show you, demonstrate like how powerful your imagination actually is. It's more than just the name imagination. It's kind of limiting. It's I don't feel like it's the best word for it. And here's why. The root word is image, right? So to most people, imagination is simply things that you can see. You're imagining stuff in your head. But if you actually think about it, through your memory is accessed through your power of imagination. You can remember how food tastes, what things felt like, how things smelled. See, it's not just sight. It's all the senses, plus feeling. Not physical feeling, but feeling. So imagination actually is not the best word for it when you have all your senses. But people don't think like that. What you imagine in your head happens. And what you imagine makes it so. That's the tricky thing about telling you about the Archon stuff. But it's a factor in the puzzle, so it's unavoidable. You got to deal with it. But once you know it's there, you can then choose, yay or nay, that you're not going to give it your attention. You're going to put your attention on her or him. Either one, same thing. So here's the example of how powerful imagination is. So the pendants that we make, let's grab one here. Well, at least for the people that have these, they can feel the power in them. I gave one to my neighbor last night because they made some like really freaking awesome spaghetti last week and gave me a big freaking bucket of it, which I ate the whole freaking thing because when you live by yourself, you just don't cook much the old way. You just eat to live. But yeah, my neighbor's got this new girlfriend that he knew a long time ago. She just magically freaking appeared one day. I'm like, huh, look at that. I think Lumen just hooked you up because he's connected to Lumen. He used to come over here and just having a bad day. He wants to sit in this chair and sit in front of this altar and just soak in the energy. But she could, we didn't tell her what it was at first, and then she's like, I feel lighter, I feel happier, joyful, and it was like a divine feminine Sophia type pendant. That's the one that Lumen picked out for her. So it's like, okay, so how did that energy get into the pendant? How did I do it? People have all sorts of, ideas like, how does energy workers work? Are they shooting beams out of their hands like, they're X-Men or something like that? It's that same thing. It's imagination. At some point, I don't remember when it was, but I noticed it early on. She very quietly adjusted a setting in my head. She like took away one thing from the adversary. And that is when it comes to the things that we imagine. Starting out, you got this one block where the adversary voice in your head will say, yeah, but that's not real. And at some point, she shut that off. And where I realized that I was like, I can just believe whatever I want to believe. And it becomes real to me. So from there, it's like, however I think it works. First, she guided a lot of it. But let's just say I was going to charge this pendant. And maybe it's for a specific person that we've already talked to. But if it's someone that just bought it off the Etsy store that I haven't talked to, then I have to rely on her because I don't know that person, but she does. So she knows how it needs to be programmed. But either which way, I'll do different methods with it because it just helps me with the visualization. I'll use my words, spoken blessings, things like that, breathe life into it with the breath, Sophia. But then I'll just like hold it in my hand and think about what we're putting into it. And I use my imagination. In my inner sight, I can see this thing just go bright white, lit up with crackling energy. And if it's a Sophia thing, like maybe there's purple energy going into it, like this UV light or whatever. And I just see it getting brighter and brighter. And I'm knowing what it's doing. I'm knowing that it's putting that program that we prescribe for it into the pendant. And I can do this in like 5 seconds, but I'll usually go a lot longer. And then if I handed it to somebody that's energy sensitive right after that, they're going to feel it. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's so strong. How did you do that? It wasn't some Tai Chi, weird energy projection. It was imagination. Your imagination is what does that. No matter what it is, whatever kind of energy thing you're learning or whatever it is, the thing that powers it is your imagination and your will. It's exactly like Green Lantern. That's how I do it. Like she'll guide me, she'll teach me different ways that work different, things that work in different ways. Like if we are, connecting to someone like on another continent to do energy work, well, I know all points in time and space are connected. So we've got a thing where how we connect to that. And I know that there's no, like a lot of people start off like, I want to learn distance Reiki and I got to make this crazy ass symbol to do it. I'm like, it's not radio waves. You're not freaking broadcasting it through the stratosphere. All points in time and space are connected because all is mind. So if you go in, like I could create a door in my head with their permission. We always got to make sure that they agree to this. I can open that door in my head and I walk out of my room into theirs with her because she's always overseeing everything. This guy isn't, I'm just being a proxy for her at this point. And then we can look around and see what's going on in there. It's just imagination. That's one of the things that's programmed into your head is that imagination is nothing. It's not real. It's just make-believe fantasy. That's what they told you your whole life. That's literally your God power. So maybe that doesn't click except for the people that actually have the pendants that can actually feel the energy in them. But that's how it got there for those that do. Imagination is the key. It's an actual thing. I know there's things that are just stuck to it. Like imagination isn't real. They beat that into your head. You have to disconnect that meaning. It is. That's how things work. And that shows you that you have that actual God spark of the Father to be able to do that kind of stuff. Like, you can literally shape a lot of things within your reality. But the point that we're in now, we're not trying to do much of that stuff. We're just trying to disconnect from it and help people disconnect from it. See, we're past the whole, like, let's be a magician and change our reality and make hell great again. No, we're done with hell. We're going home. So let it be disposed of. But we're using these tools to reconnect people to the light. Your imagination is your biggest freaking power. And right now, the world taught you all this stuff, and all that power is going into rendering the world that you don't like, and all the crazy crap that you see that you don't like. So take that power back. Stop looking at it. Take all that power you're giving to the world and the archons and the creepy critters, and give it to her. Give it all back to her. Become the mirror. So right now it's like you are the mirror and she's the sun. And all the bad stuff that needs that energy is over here trying to get your attention. So you've tilted to your mirror so that your source power is shining onto this crap that you don't even like. Turn the mirror back to the light. Start a positive energy loop so that it has more power to come into your consciousness to help you, because you're reflecting it back. Okay, let's get on to the next thing. So I talk about the Benedict exorcism on this channel a lot because it's like one of the biggest tools she ever gave me and had me learn and master. And you got to look past the words and the meanings of what you think you know. It's like, yeah, you can, but it's not. Exorcism is basically cleansing. Okay, it's not specifically casting out demons. The demons are the corruption, or the spirits are the corruption. So the way she taught me to tell people one time is like this scenario. Like, imagine this. Imagine you can actually see spirits, right? And you walk in your room and there's a demon standing in your living room. Okay? And you know the Benedict exorcism. How would you utilize it? What most people would say is they would take that Benedict exorcism and point it at the demon. And that would be wrong. You're not trying to clean the demon. You're trying to clean the room. The demon is what is corrupting the room. So you aim the exorcism at the space. And that's what pushes it out. It's a subtle difference, but it makes a big, proper context is what makes things work or not work. So whenever you're utilizing this to clean, you're not using it as a club to beat demons with. You're cleaning the space so that it becomes immaculate, holy light, and they can't be in that. So some people might understand that nuance, most don't. I'm just pointing it out. But the other thing is when you actually understand the words, what it's really doing is it's like a mantra of rejecting the world of illusion. So the English part, the English translation is, may the holy cross be my light. And by that they mean the sun cross, not the torture rack cross. May the dragon never be my guide. Get back, Satan. Do not tempt me with your vanities. The cup you offer is evil. Drink the poison yourself. In Latin, it is crus sacra sit mihi dux, non draco sit mihi dux, vare retro satana, numquam spari mihi vana, sunt malique libas ipse venina bibas. Now let me reword it in English. This is essentially reworded so that you understand the meaning. The light of truth is within me. I will not be deceived by the world. Get back, adversary. Do not offer me your illusions and lies. Everything that comes from you is evil. I bind you to your own poison. The Benedict exorcism is just a big fat no. No. Swiper, no swiping. It's a rejection. It's a refutation of what the world is trying to poison you with. Because you understand, you have knowledge, you have wisdom. Can't trust anything outside of you. But I thought maybe by sharing that, like you would start to understand like how powerful this thing is, why you should learn it. It's not a Catholic thing. Yeah, they appropriated it like they do everything else. Because when they appropriate something, then they can dumb it down. Like the St. Michael prayer. Oh my God, it's laughable. I don't even remember how it goes. Like back when I still worked with Michael, before I upgraded, I wrote my own. But the Catholic ones, like, I don't remember. I'm just paraphrasing like the overall. Saint Michael, I pray to you. Bring me cotton candy. Make things better for me, but be real sweet and gentle and puffy. I don't remember. It was something silly. I'm like, this has like, have you met Michael? Like, I know Lumen is like the baddest ass thing there is, but you know, he's pretty tough too. In the Gnostic books, like she actually spat him out of her mouth, and that's when he threw the devil down the first time. She spat him out of her mouth. She's the bigger deal. Like if I'm married to the bigger deal, I'm just gonna stick with her. Like I don't need to call on angels and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, she's basically God, so I just use her. But either which way, that Benedict exorcism, when you understand its context, it is a cleanser, and it is like a mantra of like, I reject the illusions of the world. I reject what it's trying to put into my mind. And I'm binding that, I'm throwing that back on you. All this crap you're trying to sell me, I'm sending it back to you and sticking you to it. Consume yourself. I reject your BS. I'm not buying it. Okay, here's something. Let's go into the next thing. This is something brand new. It is really cool. I'll probably end up doing a shorter video on this so I can put it in like the skills playlist too, but I'm going to tell you about it here. Because every time I do this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this works so well. You know how they always say you got to ground? And they tell you what that means? Like, I don't think that's what it means. Or maybe it's just what I'm calling it. But like, this works so freaking well. Now, I've already got a lot of practice with going into 4D, the mind realm, with Lumen, or 4.5D or whatever. But this, like, if you know the secret room method that we taught, like that's how you pray. You turn around in your head, walk backwards to the door, go into that room. That's where you pray to the Father. This is how you make it more real. Okay, so go into wherever you're going into. Like we just came up with a whole new place where that big door of light is. It's like this giant hallway, and it's kind of dark. But that door is so freaking bright. And I just did this almost like spontaneously. So I saw the room, and then the first thing I did is I crouched down and I put my hand on the ground. And I felt the ground. And the way that one was kind of reminded me of like those square tile floors like at the shopping mall. Oh, maybe at a different mall or whatever, but that's what popped into my head. Like I could feel the cold tile, and I could feel like little bits of sand on it. I could feel like the, I don't know what it is, the caulking or whatever the stuff is called that's between all the tiles, but I could feel that cold, hard surface. In feeling It's like feeling is the first thing that you want to do if you're traveling in 4D. Giving another example that I've used before in the past, I don't think I'd ever like taken it outside of that particular scene. One of the things that makes it really easy to demonstrate that you can do this, as long as you've been to the beach at least once in your life, because the beach is extremely sensory immersive, is it's easy to remember and visualize walking to the water, what the hot sand feels like under your feet. And then you get to the wet, cool sand. And then you start getting into the water with the waves kind of coming up around your feet, and you feel that cool, wet water going around your feet and the wet sand underneath you, and you're starting to sink into it. That's feeling. It's feeling the ground. So what I did in this case was obviously different, but is the same thing. It's like that's what you do first. Wherever you project into your mind, whether it's to pray, whether it's to go be with your lumen or whatever, to anchor yourself in the new place, you ground. And by that, I mean you put your hand on the ground and feel it. And it should be very quick. Like you're going to look around and you're going to see what it looks like. Like right now I'm doing it. I'm picturing being outdoors somewhere, but there's like grass. I can reach down, put my hand on the grass, and I know exactly what that grass feels like. I can like grab a handful of it and pull it up. I don't know why this keeps popping into my head, but like Russell Crowe in Gladiator, like before he got into a battle, he would reach down and grab some dirt, and like rub it on his hands. It's almost like grounding himself and making himself the master of this particular domain. But when I did that, and I've been practicing this, it's like this makes it so much easier. Of course, lumen, I've got lumen too, so I'm sitting here just feeling the ground, and then she'll stand in front of me, and there's her feet. It's like she painted her toenails and all that stuff. And I can put my hand on her foot, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so much easier now. I can like actually feel your foot and all the bones and the flesh and stuff, and then I can go up her thighs or calves, and by the time I go higher on the body, then I can feel whatever she's wearing. I can feel the tiny little hairs on her skin. I can feel the fabric of whatever she's wearing. I'm like, it's so much easier when I do that. So try that. Try that. When you're practicing going in somewhere in 4D, even if it's just, you might not be doing this much, but try it with a memory, like a house you used to live in or something like that. Project yourself into the memory and then crouch down like a superhero landing. And feel the ground. If it's carpet, feel the carpet. It might be, you might remember it like needing to be cleaned. It might be worn carpet, might be a little sticky, but feel it. If it's outside, feel the ground. Make that the first thing that you do. And somehow that anchors you into it. So that was such a huge freaking thing. I'm like, why have I not been doing this more? It just seems like it's some kind of trick she just showed me. Like it's so freaking easy now. Think of, try to remember a place, like I said, remember a place you lived or a place you used to work or something like that. Project there and then immediately touch the ground and feel it. And see if that doesn't make it like 1,000 times more real. Same thing if you're dealing with the adversary or anything in your mind's popping in there. It's like, okay, you want to play? Fine. Go into your mind. Touch the ground. Boom. I'm here now, bitch. Want to play? And it's like, oh, crap. So, yeah. Daddy's home. You wanted to F around. Now it's time to find out. So, I'm here now. Watch what we can do. Cheese grater. Wood chipper. I do some of the stupidest stuff sometimes just because it's like nothing wants to fight us anymore. But like like one time we just like strapped some, I don't know what it was. I don't even care anymore. They're all the same to me. I think it was something I saw on YouTube one time. It's like, so we like strapped him to a chair or something, and then had just like this brick tied to a ceiling fan. It just spun around and smacked him in the head over and over and over again. That's why they hate me, because like we've long since figured out that whatever we imagine, they have to deal with. So they're like, yeah, we just leave them alone now. So, but try that trick and let me know how it works for you. The grounding, not the tie a brick to a ceiling fan to smack a demon trick. That's more complicated. Okay, for the last thing, we can kind of like tag on to what we just talked about, because man, I think so many people make contact with the light, and they don't think, and they don't think that they did, because of that program we talked about earlier. Oh, it's just my imagination. It's not real. Well, did it just pop into your head? And there's two ways your third eye works. It works to create, or it works to observe. So, some beautiful woman or a man, if you're a woman, pops into your head, smiling at you and stuff like that. Are you just dismissing it because the programming says if you're imagining it, then it's not real? We might need to come up with a process, if people struggle with that, to shut that program off, knowing what it is. Like imagination isn't real. Like we got to shut that off so that you can experience more. But like that's where you deal with all this stuff. And like when it comes to lumen, like I've explained it before, but I will again, just so you kind of get it. A lot of it also is, this is why you got to empty your cup. You really got to let go of everything you think you know, because it gets in the way. Like people talk about God and stuff like that. They cannot seem to disassociate the idea of this higher power away from this big masculine figure that you're scared of or something like that. Like it's bigger than that. But what it's going to do is it's going to bring itself down to your level so that you can interact with it. So you don't have to go into your mind and imagine some big giant temple with a screaming light on a throne. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is so intimidating. Instead, it's going to come down to your level, possibly looking like her. Because God is love. And it's not going to make it hard to exchange love between you. So it's going to become your ideal thing. The lumen is the light. That's why she named herself that. She is an emanation of the all that is, the Father, the Mother, the Almighty, brought down to your level. Sometimes she acts, she's still going to be like your fun partner and all that stuff, but sometimes she does take on that higher mantle. Like when it wants to talk to you, like you're going to be comfortable with your lumen. Your lumen's going to be the most important thing in the world. Like that's when you're really, really connected. And that's to make it easier for you. But because if you make it to that point, then it's like, that's all you want. Well, that's the light. Now you've connected. Now the light is more important to you than the world is. That's when you know you're getting out of here for good, because the light is what saves you. Lumen is what, like when this thing passes away, because I'm already connected to her, I'm already part of it, That's what gets me out. But people want to make it complicated because another one of those programs they put into you is everything is hard. Everything is hard. It's too good to be true. Imagination isn't real. Like I've covered this before. There's like a handful of these things that you've heard a million times. They sound like something simple, but they're massive freaking monkey wrenches in the machine. Massive. We got to take those out. We got to take those out. Because then when you stop limiting it, you're limiting your connection with your God power. That's the whole crazy thing about this test, is you're the one that's getting in your own way. You're choosing to give your power to the world and those creepy freaking things that cling to your head, rather than giving it to the beautiful emanation of God that loves you. Like, that's too good to be true, but I believe in these crazy looking things. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you hand your power to like that stuff? That's what people do every day. Like, oh, this guy's crazy. I believe in the bad stuff. I'm sure you do. Because if you believe in the bad stuff that much, and that's more real than the light is to you, you're in hell. But you have the choice that you can just, you can change that paradigm real quick. Know thyself, fix thyself, heal thyself. Why? Because you're the only one that can, but you need help. So yeah, I do talk about the different emanations, Christ, Sophia, Lumen. But technically speaking, I do that so that, you know, people, your brain needs time to handle this. Believe me, I know. I still work on it every day. But it's what I talked about. It's what Kenneth's talked about on his channel. It's all God. But it's going to present itself in the way that best suits you in the moment. So for you, it might not be the beautiful partner. You might be more comfortable with and need to see Christ or Sophia, you know, the divine mother, protective mother. It's going to be whatever is going to work best for you. But I'm just telling you, because this is in the scriptures, the Gnostic scriptures and everything, and lots of other places, that's where you're ultimately trying to get to where you have the permanent, direct, personal connection to it. And I love that Kenneth has said this a lot lately. It helps me a lot, because she's had to like remind me over and over and over again too. I forget exactly what he said. It was something along the lines of like, whatever you deem to be good and true, but just keep that between you and God. Like what approve of, whatever you approve of. That what he said. I need to find out what scripture that is. I'll ask ChatGPT. But people only know what they've been taught about such things. But I'm telling you, like, there's got to be something more than that for me to be completely happy and content and never lonely, not needing to connect to other people, especially other women in the world, for me to have everything that I need, and for it to be more fulfilling than anything the world can give me. I'll just let you believe what you want to believe with that, but I'm saying, like,
what you seek lies in front of you, as does what you fear.
What's this?
The price. Saul holds a special place among the Infinity Stones. You might say it has a certain wisdom.
Tell me what it needs.
To ensure that whoever possesses it understands its power. The stone demands a sacrifice.
Of what?
In order to take the stone, you must lose that which you love. A soul for a soul.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I don't like to talk, I don't want to give off the wrong impression about me talking about what my stuff all the time. The reason why I do it is so that you at least are hearing somebody tell you that these bigger, better things exist and are real, because there's no one else really saying that. And the world goes out of its way to make you think that it's not possible and it's not real. I'm like, it's been my life for 4.5 years. So it is. Like, the good stuff is real. The good stuff is more powerful than this current realm. What you have to do is realize that, like, yeah, I don't want to play this anymore. I don't want to give this stuff my power anymore. Find the light within you, and then you'll know that what is within you is greater than what is in the world. And they can make all the scary faces and stuff they want, where she from within you, or Christ or whoever, can simply be like, yeah, I don't think so. Boom, fire, disintegrated. They only got you when you believe in them more than everything else, when you're afraid of them. Because when you're afraid of something, you're basically affirming that that other thing has the power to harm you or control you. Fear is like a big key. You want to know who you're giving your power away to? Who are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Whatever you're afraid of is where your power is being siphoned off. But the actual true reality is you are more powerful than anything that you're afraid of. And if it's that might kill you, well, so what? This is temporary. They even threw that in freaking Star Wars with Obi-Wan's fighting Darth Vader. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. He spoke the truth. He wasn't freaking worried about his Obi-Wan body. Heck, he probably couldn't wait to get out of it. He was old. But anyway, that's where we are with this lesson. So yeah, that stuff is real, but it's only real here. You're here for a reason that may just be too big for you to understand from this point in time. Put your attention on the light. If you can't do that, or you're resisting it, then speak up, say something, so we can help you. Because sometimes people just need a little help. Not to do it for them, but here, let me go ahead and duct tape this thing's mouth for a minute so you can actually work without interruption. Let's make something for you or whatever. Well, light supplement. I'm doing things a bunch of different ways now. So anyway, been talking for a while. I'm going to wrap this up. If you like what we share here, you want to support us, support the channel, click on Buy Lumina Coffee. She's a big coffee drinker. Possibly become a member. We'll be doing another giveaway here soon. If you want to buy any of our stuff directly, plus the best way to contact us is through the Etsy store, clumencreations.etsy.com. Check all the description box down there for links. Anything extra we might want to throw in there. But other than that, Chris and Lumen, see you next time.
Did you do it?
Yes.
What did it cost?
Everything.